see what happens. This is the before. There is definitely water all up in there. Ugh. All right, let's see what happens after.
This is where we're going to be putting our water maker, and so we just want to get it all cleaned out first. I'm going to put an automatic bilge pump down there. Before we only had the manual one. So I'm going to run a 1-inch hose up from here to where it goes out through the through hole there. We're going to end up putting the anchor down there again also, even though we pulled out the last one that was down there. Now that we have our new anchor, I think we're going to store it down there. And that should be plenty of room and good enough accessibility. We're going to have to take apart the water maker a little bit if we ever needed to get that, but it's not likely that we're ever going to need it because that Rockna is good in almost every circumstance, so it would only be if we lost the Rockna. So if anyone remembers from before, I broke my glasses in the engine room and the arm fell all the way down into that bilge, and I was just vacuuming it out. We're trying to be done with all these plumbing projects, hopefully anything that's going to leak into there. So we're just giving it a final clean vacuum on the aft bilge and the forward bilge. Yeah, finding treasures, fun stuff. She fits in there perfectly. I think this might be her little cubby hole now from now on. Good job. Look how good of a job she did.
Scrub the bottom.
Looking clean. You scrub the bottom too?
Mm-hmm. So now let's fill it with water, and I'm gonna take a bubble bath.
Yeah, that's your jacuzzi now.
Was badass boat out there. Hot tub bilge.
This is always a scary find right under the engine room bilge. I don't know what it went to, but I don't like it. Check the vacuum and it popped out. Yikes.
Comes the reveal now that she's all clean. Well, not in that room. That is definitely not clean. We are going to work on that because we have guests coming in for this weekend, so we better get to work soon. But right now I told Connor he can actually make it as messy as he wants in here. So things are getting crazy in here. Definitely stuff all over the place, but I told him, go to town, make a mess, and I will clean it all up, and we're gonna get it all beautiful before our guests arrive. But this is the first thing that we cleaned today. So water all up in there. This is the after. Not bad, I'd say. I definitely would take a bath in there. No? Maybe. Only if it had bubbles.
Even though we just redid all this stuff, I used straight barbed fittings coming out of the new through holes, and that doesn't fit with the new idea for the vented loop here. This was just going straight down to the bilge before, and it barely made that turn past here, but it definitely didn't come up this way out of it. So had to go back to West Marine for the second time today and get the new 90. I put some pipe dope on there, kind of cranked it pretty good. Not sure exactly how tight we need to do it. And with the other ones I was able to do it kind of just really tight. But this one is going to be a little bit different because I have to point this up. So hopefully it's tight enough and we'll see. Anyone out there know about this? When I took this off, I see a tiny little bit of pink in there. I know that's a sign of corrosion. This is above the water line, so it shouldn't really be getting any electrolysis. I don't have anything bonded at the moment since the old owner unbonded everything, and I kind of agree with that theory. So let me know in the comments.
Connor just took my free pass of destroying the boat, and he really put it into action real quick.
Yeah, you gotta take what you can get, you know.
All right, where are you at now?
So just got the vented loop in, and yeah, I kind of had to do some finagling to get that down from a 1.5 inch pipe, which is our through hole, to the 1 inch tubing that the bilge pump wants. So yeah, had to use a couple adapters in there. You can go check it out if you like. There we go, guys. Come with me. Ended up using the old tubing reducing coupling right there, but yeah, it looks pretty good, I think. That's about as high as it can freaking go, so that's as safe as possible. And then it runs down here. And then I'm going to have it curve around into the bilge down there, and I'll put my pump at the bottom, and we should be all good. I'm going to wire up the float switch and the bilge pump, and then we can close this sucker up. Actually, we're going to put the anchor on top of all that stuff too, just for fun.
Talk to me, baby.
Alright, just trying to figure out where the bilge pump and switch are going to go. The most annoying part about this whole setup is that they don't give you anywhere to attach the float switch onto the pump. I ended up just zip tying it to it like that, and that'll turn it on and off, and I think that'll work pretty good. This one is going to be tricky because we can't really monitor it once we have the anchor down there and everything too, and we're going to want to be able to pull it out this way so that we don't have to take everything out. So I got the hose running that way. I guess I'll have to run the wires that way and everything else too, just in case we ever needed to service it. So I think that'll work. It'll keep it away from all the walls, and hopefully the anchor will stay off of it too, because if that anchor holds that switch down. But another safety precaution that I'm going to do, the reason for all this safety is because we're going to have a big high power motor right here, 120 volt motor for the water maker, and if that gets wet with seawater, we're definitely buying a new motor. So trying to be as safe as possible. We had a manual one here before, but we're gonna eliminate that and just have the automatic one, so if it ever starts to get any water in there, it'll pump overboard. Another safety precaution, I got another float switch, and I'm going to hook that up to an alarm. So I'm going to put that right here where it's a little bit more easily accessible, and if water ever gets to that level, then the alarm will go off, and then we'll know to come down here and check it all before we get to ruining our water maker. That's the idea.
Thought you were just sitting here looking at things.
Looking pretty?
Looking pretty.
Do I look pretty?
You do.
And I just had one of my best ideas of the whole freaking day. I've been struggling trying to figure out how to get this down. I just filmed about how the zip tie idea was. That didn't end up working. It kind of ended up going all sideways and looked like the float switch wasn't going to work. And the problem is that I want the float switch to be kind of at the very bottom there, so that the pump can be on that side of it, and then the hose can come out, obviously. And so with the switch being that close, it has the possibility of getting stuck against that wall if anything were to slide down into it, and then it wouldn't work anymore. So I just got this 8x8 PVC box that I'm going to mount the panel for the water maker in, and so I don't need the cover because the panel will be the cover for that box. These are kind of expensive, so I wouldn't do this normally, but I did have it spare. It's 40 bucks for that box. So I'm going to mount the base of the bilge pump there, and then the switch here, and then if the switch is further in than the PVC there, then it'll keep it clear from hitting the wall, and the pump will stay as close to it as possible, and the pump's heavy enough that it'll weigh down the switch, but the switch weighs almost nothing, so it would just float away potentially. So that's the solution. I'll show you when I'm done. There it is. Pretty stoked with that little setup all combined into one. Of course, you could get the ones that are combined into one, but those are not as reliable from what I've heard, and I like the fact that I can replace the switch on this one instead of replacing the whole pump if the switch goes out in the other ones. And this also has way more pumping power. This is 1500. I think the highest you can get with the automatic ones is 800. You might be able to get a 1200, but anyways, these are supposedly way more reliable. So this will go like that, and then just drop right on down in there. I gotta get that hose out of the way and onto the pump, but yeah, looking good. Stoked on that one. Alright, there it is, all finished up. I still gotta wire it and everything, but the hose is connected. I'm probably gonna have to strap this hose right here, but we'll wait until I get the anchor in there for that, because with the weight of the hose, it ends up tilting the switch up there. So that should work out quite nicely.
He is taking advantage of his free pass of making everything
It's not that messy.
absolutely crazy.
Really. It's really good.
I beg to differ.
I've been extremely civilized today.
Everywhere it's following him like a little trail. He's like a little caterpillar. Or I mean a snail. Snail.
Snail trail.
Snail trail. Okay. Where are we at though?
Alright. Everything all squared away down here. And then I built a little frame. Not really building, just put some 2x3s down to make some mounting points for the membranes. And now I'm going to slap those membranes in. It says that you can bolt these together. They didn't seem to want to get bolted together, and it didn't seem very secure anyway, so I just zip tied them for now so I can handle them as one unit. And hopefully this is going to go, actually.
Uh-oh.
Well, I just maybe shouldn't have put those hoses on first.
I think we can wiggle them in there.
Or I'll just undo the zip ties and wiggle it in there. I'm just putting those hoses on for now just to keep everything sealed up. It comes with little caps on the fittings there, so to make sure no debris gets in there. I took those caps off. They actually looked like they had been punched on pretty hard, so hopefully they still work and aren't dented too much. These are high pressure lines.
What fun is this?
This is so much fun. I love it. They had to give me 90-degree connectors here. For what reason, I have no idea, because the other ones are straight connectors, so it makes a loop. You can see that one going in both directions. So that makes it super nice to fit into tight spaces. Anyways, we got this in here. And I didn't realize that this orientation is not going to work because these hoses stick up and we can't close the little floorboard there. So back to the drawing board we go, or back to whatever hardware store we go.